Good morning, everyone, on this rather sunny day down south. I hope it's super sunny where you're tuning in from. And for today's session, it is Fudge the Rules of Retail, supported by Fudge Professional. And we're joined by Fudge Professional Global Ambassador Jonathan Andrew, who's going to be sharing his expert hints and tips to help you embrace retail within your business and maximise customised spend so you and your team can earn more money with minimal effort, which I think is what we all need once salons are reopening again. So thank you so much for joining us today, Jonathan.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, brilliant. And if you do have any questions, please do pop them into our chat, whether you're tuning on Zoom or Facebook, and Jonathan would be more than happy to answer them, won't you, Jonathan?
Of course.
And this session is supported by Fudge Professional, as I said. So for more information about any of the Fudge Professional retail range, which we will be discussing during this session, and if you'd like to stock it in your salon, you can go to uk.fudgeprofessional.com. But again, you'll find that in the comments as well. So I guess we've got a lot of ground to cover, Jonathan. So should we just kind of kick off, really?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, do you want to maybe just tell us about your personal retail journey? Because that might be useful for everyone tuning in who does struggle with selling retail products in a salon environment.
Of course. So, funnily enough, it was a strange situation for me that when I was younger, I kind of developed a bit more of a passion for retail, and that was mainly because when I'd qualified at college, the salon that I worked with my family at Anita Cox McMillan and Thomas McMillan. And I just sort of moved to London to work with them. And that was kind of the way that I wanted to grow my career. But obviously as an assistant, you don't really earn that much money. So I was always trying to find ways that I could add to that. So when I qualified at college, I was like, great, I'm a hairdresser now. So I went back to work and they were like, no, it doesn't work like that. We've got a level and a standard that we need you to be at. So they said, what you've got to do is go and do 100 free haircuts. And you have to get people off the street, find people, friends, get anyone in who will come and have 100 haircuts, but you can't do the same person twice. And I thought that was going to be a nightmare to do. But the benefit of that was that ultimately I was kind of going to hit the ground in the salon floor with a clientele ready. So actually, in hindsight, it was one of the best lessons I ever learned. But what they said in that is that because I couldn't do the same person twice, they didn't want me to lose that person as a client. So they said, what we will do is we will let you do blow dries for £12. So you can continue a relationship with that client. They get something great out of it, but they start to get used to coming to see you more regularly. And the thing for me is that as soon as I was going to be qualified, my prices were going to go to a stylish price, which wasn't £12. So I thought of a way that was going to try and get clients used to parting with more money and being more comfortable with me, in the sense of that when the prices went up, they weren't all just going to run off because it was cheap. So what I started to do was start to try and incorporate selling products into that service. And the great thing about that is it started to give me more of an interest in learning about products, being able to talk to clients about products, and ultimately prescribing them the proper tools to be able to recreate the looks that I was doing. And very quickly, as most people here who work in a salon or retail, in any field, very quickly 2 and 3 products can really add up quite a lot of money to that bill. And especially when we were an assistant, that was one of the only ways that you could earn any additional money, was that you would get commission if you sold retail. So say, for argument's sake, you were shampooing someone's hair and they bought the shampoo and conditioner that you'd recommended or that you'd used on them, that went towards you and that was a benefit for you. So being able to do that in that blow dry scenario really boosted that up. And the benefit of that was it gave me an opportunity to see what it was like to be a stylist and trying to generate income for myself and work for that. And I remember at the time, I thought, as most people do, it's a free haircut or it's a blow dry for £12, but it was easily one of the best lessons I ever learned in hairdressing. I'm always grateful to them for teaching me that, because it really showed me that it's not about the money, it's about the effort. And the effort that you put into each part of that service is delivered to the client, and ultimately the client buys into that more, and that becomes the relationship that's built. I've still got clients that I do now from that period of time, which the prices are
It's
very
testament.
when I started now,
Yeah.
and it's
They've grown with you.
absolutely,
Yeah. Oh,
absolutely.
that's incredible, Jonathan. And obviously, you're the Fudge Professional Global Ambassador. So, how would you say working as an ambassador and working on the research and development for Fudge Professional's retail products, how has that helped you with your retailing to clients?
It's helped me massively because products is always something I've been really interested in. I am always trying to find the best and easiest way to get the best results. And I look at products a lot more like tools. They are as important as hair dryers and brushes and all of these things. And being able to work with Fudge, it was an amazing opportunity because their product development team is phenomenal. It's like a little family. We're all in it together, and everyone has an input and everyone has a say. So I got to start to see how products start. How they come from an idea that someone's had, how they become trend based, a focus that they're looking at, and then the rigorous testing that all of those things go through. It was great for me to be able to understand what went into it, what ingredients actually did, why they worked, because I think a lot of times you can get sent a product from a company that you work with, and they're like, oh, this is this new thing, and everyone looks at it and says, oh, I don't like that, or I don't like sprays, and you kind of can almost discount it before you've actually understood what it does. And I've been guilty of that, in lots of different times in my career. For argument's sake, one of the products, I don't have one here because it goes immediately, but we have a product called XXL hair thickener, and for me it was mind-blowing because it's a product that contains polymers. They go in your hair, as soon as heat touches them they expand, and it gives you 100% more density. Most people want thicker hair, regardless. So it was ingenious in the way that worked, but that used to be based, and it was another product previously. But the previous product I didn't really get. I wasn't really sure what it was going to do. But I came on board and worked with the team, and we redeveloped and restaged the whole range. We put repackaging on, we brought in new innovation, we tweaked it, changed names. And the reason for that is that, it was amazing to be able to see something that I would have discounted 2 years ago as it's not for me. And actually, it was probably the one product that I was really looking for in life, because I work with a lot of guys. That's what guys mainly want. As soon as I had it in new packaging, it went like that. I sold the entire box in a day. And for me, seeing things like that really made an impact on financially how I was doing in the salon, but also understanding that having a better vision for what the products are going to do and being able to see what they're going to do, it makes it easy. It's not about selling it, it's just about telling people about it, and they can make up the decision. But when you're saying this really works, and then it does work when you show them, there's no question. You could pick any product in the world. It doesn't have to be hair, it could be anything. If someone tells you that's what's going to happen and that's what happens, I buy it all day long. And things like that have had a real impact on me as a hairdresser, but also as a creative working with the brand. Because one of the things that we did, I helped with the campaigns that we've done for the products, and the visual and sort of work that's came out, and all the stuff that goes with the products. And one of the things that was really good for me, really refreshing, is we had Emma and Katie, who are my bosses, and from marketing and product development, and oversee everything. And they were on set with me the whole way, and everything was about whatever product you use, you have to use it. It wasn't like do something massive and glamorous and glossy, use whatever you want, and then say that's what it is, or what could you say this was. For me, that spoke volumes in terms of the product performance, because I had to be able to do things that you could do. It was real, it was authentic. It wasn't about creating something that, you know, I say, take these 2 products and that's the picture you get, and then send people home with it, send people back to the salon, and then it doesn't work, because all of a sudden people are like, but he said that's what's going to happen, and you lose respect in terms of what I was doing, but also from a brand perspective, we had to be able to say, this is great because this is actually what it does. And that was a big eye-opener for me in confidence with the products, really. You know, I think when I first joined, I definitely thought it was one of the most comprehensive ranges I've seen. It covered all bases. But the strange thing about it is that a lot of times I can look at brands or brands that I've worked with in the past, and you have this massive range, and it's almost about, you know, bigger is better. And then half of it, you're like, I'm not going to use that. It's got one thing that it does that's a really small niche market. Whereas this really targets specific areas, and covers a lot of those bases. For argument's sake, we've got one of our new innovations, which is Curl Revolution Mist. And a lot of the development was behind that was, you know, curls being a big trend as people are seeing, and natural hair being a big trend. But us deciding, you know, and the team deciding that actually, you know, curly hair is not, you know, there are brands that focus specifically on that market. It's not something that we're going to go in and say, all of a sudden we're a curly hair brand. But we wanted to have something that was going to benefit people in that market. So we developed a spray because it's easier to distribute and it works through the hair better, but also that we can work that into so many different services. We can cocktail that with expander foam, which is our mousse, and tackle more difficult curls. And we actually then created a product that was available to everyone, regardless of where you sat. The results will probably differ on either sides of that, but it still gave someone the opportunity to do it. And, you know, for me as a hairdresser, being able to see innovation at its core and at the beginning of it has been a revelation for me. Like we'd spoke previously, that this is one of my all-time favorite products. And it was, I always say it's my baby. It's not my baby because it was I've done this before me, but this was one of the first products. So this is our blow dry aqua primer. I started testing this when it was this, which that's how it starts, and that's how it and the thing for that was that we'd looked at a trend of K-beauty, which has been a big skincare trend where people didn't want to put lots of heavy products on. So this product was designed to act as the same thing for hair, you know, and we took a bit more of a skincare focus. I think a lot of the times people can say hair products are like makeup, and for me that's more about covering up things and hiding and disguising, whereas skincare is actually about rejuvenating, replenishing, rehydrating, fixing a lot of those problems. So that's what this was. It's super lightweight. It's like a gel texture that turns into water in your hands. It does everything. It's got hyaluronic acid in it, volume, shine, lift, hold. It does everything. It genuinely is a key start. But the benefit of it is that because we'd had this trend of it being this water weight texture, it allows you to put on that at the start of every service. Every product can go on top of it. It's super lightweight. You'd never notice it. I've put a third of a bottle of it in someone's fringe and blow dried it in just to prove that that was the case. And that for me is fundamentally why I love doing this, because I got super excited when I received this and said, this is going to be something that's amazing and this is a game changer for us. And the guys then create this. Being able to be a part of that whole journey really gives me excitement when I'm talking to clients, because I understand what went into it, and then it just becomes easier. You know, things like this, you know, I could sell out of this in a day easily. You know,
that's a great point there, Jonathan, because you're talking about your excitement feeding into the client. So would you say that's crucial to the retail journey, to make sure that the person selling the products is passionate about it and willing to sort of experiment and play with them and explain to clients how will this work on your hair?
Definitely. I mean, that is first and foremost the key. One thing that I've always seen, regardless of where I've worked or wherever I've been, is a nervousness about retail and a nervousness about products, and a lot of stylists can often say, oh, I don't want to pressurize my clients, and I feel like it's a hard sell, and I feel like I'm being pushy, and I'm creative, and I'm not a salesperson, and all of these sort of things. And I understand that. I definitely see that perspective and that point of view, but I disagree with it quite a lot, primarily because, first off, every one of us is a salesperson in some way, shape, or form. You know, if you are on social media and you are showcasing your work, you are selling yourself to potential clients. It's as easy as that. You know, there's no debate in that. Whatever you do when you go to work, the reason you do your hair and you wear the clothes that you want to wear, and regardless of what trend or fashion you follow, it's all about the vision that you're creating to appeal to other clients. And I think that is key in the industry that we are in, because, you know, realistically, just as an example, if someone comes in to a colorist and they sit down and they say, I just want a root tint, but you look at that person and you say, this is doing nothing for you. What you actually need is some highlights, you know, some balayage would be nice. Maybe we'll lighten up the front a little bit. Maybe, you know what, you've had your color done for so long, the condition of your hair isn't great, I think you really need a treatment. You actually really need to have a couple of inches cut off your hair. All of these things are effectively sales to the client, because the suggestion of that is that you know that you are doing the better thing for them. And 9 times out of 10, you know, all the colorists that I've worked with, the passion that they have for color, as soon as someone sits down and they say, what do you suggest, or what do you think I should do? The excitement of saying, oh my God, we could do this and this and this, and all of this creativity comes out because it is something that they're generally passionate about. When it comes to products, I don't see why that shouldn't be the same thing, because ultimately you are, what always used to baffle me was I would see people recommend, you know, all of these things for color and spend hours and hours. And, you know, any colorist knows the length that some color transformations can take, you know, from dark to light, or color changes, or highlights and full hair, and all of these sort of things can often rack up into hundreds and hundreds of pounds worth of service. This is going to help protect that, maintain it, look after it, give you a better canvas to work from in 8 weeks when they come back. And I've seen colorists who will do all of this, genuinely hundreds and hundreds of pounds worth of service, and then they're like, oh, I'm not pushing products on them. But you're not.
Yeah.
You're giving them the tools to be able to help recreate what you do, to condition their hair, to look after their hair, to build on what you've started. And I think that's where the key in terms of passion is that getting passionate about the products makes it much easier to be able to talk to clients. I'm not saying selling to clients, talking to clients about it. You know, I think that is fundamentally where a lot of people would benefit much more from doing that.
Definitely, and that's a great way to looking at it. So basically, you're failing your client in a way if you don't give them the reassurance with the products to make sure that they can maintain the investment that they've put into their hair by sitting in your chair.
Absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
the analogy I always use is, you know, a lot of people always say, oh, you know, you wouldn't go to the doctor and tell him what tablets you want, and all this. And I get that. I look at it from 2 perspectives. One is that I always look at it as a recipe. You know, if you eat something delicious, 9 times out of 10, multiple things have gone into creating that. And some of them you might never see, you might never taste. Yeah. But at the start, it was really important that you had that, so that you could create what you were trying to. And lots of ingredients go into things, and I look at it from the same perspective. You know, the other way that I always see it is that the difference between professional products and consumer products, in and around obviously the formulations and the ingredients are more expensive and all of things like that. But actually, would you feel confident going to a high street shop and asking someone who, you know, could be on work experience for all you know, and has a Saturday job or a summer job, and saying what shampoo is best for my hair? You know, they work in a shop full of products for everything, you know, from health to hair to nails. You know, there's so many. You wouldn't expect them to be able to give you a concise answer and a prescription based on what you need.
And
Whereas,
if anything, they'll probably just go for the one thing that's on offer that they need to flog or something. It wouldn't be,
absolutely, absolutely. You know, that is why we do what we do. That's why we have products. That's why there's so many professional product ranges, because everyone's trying to deliver the perfect recipe for colorists and stylists to be able to create things that people want.
Definitely. And Jonathan, obviously, you've got a whole range sat next to you of the Fudge styling and care range, so products. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about what you would see as your no-brainer, easy to sell retail products that you know are going to work with clients, and they should not be without them, really. Well, I'm guessing for you, it's probably all of them, but
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
That is that, you know, we've got products that really cover all bases. You know, like I said before, the blow dry aqua primer is one of my favorites because I don't see a style or a look where it can't be involved. And that's something that fundamentally I always try and focus on, is because when I'm looking at it from that perspective, I think what a lot of people forget at times is that one product doesn't do everything. You know, there is a reason I have a table of products. There's a reason there's a blow dry spray and one shot, which is our sort of like hydrating leave-in treatment. You know, we've got salt spray, we've got wax, we've got mat heads, we've got all these different things because they all suit different hair types and they're all for different purposes. And the best way that I can kind of relate to it, and this is what I always find really easy when talking to clients and helping clients understand the investment, is that if you came to me and said, I want to have this makeup on a Saturday night, for argument's sake, I know we can't go anywhere, so stay in makeup. The very, very rarely is that one thing. You know, you would have, you know, for argument's sake, as an understanding, you know, even for guys as well, you know, I do a lot of men's grooming, the same thing, you know, there's foundation, concealer, bronzer, eyebrow gel, lip gloss, lip balm. There's so many products that go into that one thing, and that's easy to understand. But when it comes to hair, people are like, why do I need this, this, and this? Because salt spray is going to give you texture. One shot's going to boost the condition. Blow dry aqua primer is going to give you hold. It's going to start to repair your hair. And all of a sudden, those one product additions become 3, 4, 5. And the benefit of that now is, you know, where I've always looked at it is, especially now with how we are obviously coming out of the pandemic and everyone's bursting to get back to work. First off, we're probably not going to see lots of colors right out the back because, you know, we've got to do testing and everything like that. So a lot of these services are probably either going to lose time or are going to have to wait that little bit longer, because as soon as there's a free appointment, people are going to be taking that at the moment. But also that we have to extend our appointment times because we have to clean the stations down and manage PPE, and all of these sort of things are going to take more time out of what your service is based on, you generating income. So for the time that they're sat in the chair, you're not losing time at that moment in time. You're still spending time with the client. But what you can be doing is maximizing that time by making sure that they are looking after their hair when they go home. They do have the right aftercare. They do have the right products. They can understand styling a little bit more. Not only are your clients going to benefit from that because they will have a better relationship with you, knowing that they are going to trust in what you're saying, but you're going to have a better time because not only are you going to earn more money and raise your average bill and almost pay for that missed time, you're also going to be able to have a better canvas to work with because you know that the condition's going to be better in 8 weeks when they come back, and you understand that you're going to get more of that opportunity to have better quality hair to work with, but also that you're going to benefit from the financial side of it. And you know, just for argument's sake, like I said, this isn't the whole range here because we've been in lockdown and a lot of it's gone. But for argument's sake, you know, I would be looking at, I usually say a minimum of 3 hair products and then a shampoo and conditioner. So shampoo and conditioner, it will target specific areas. So we've got, like Luminizer, which is just a great hydrating shampoo. Really works. It's not designed for color or anything other than that, just being an amazing shampoo and conditioner. So for someone who's not really got any issues, or someone who's not got any problems with their hair, that's always my go-to one that I would start with. But
Jonathan, just to cut in there a little bit, would you talk them through that shampoo and why you're using it while you're washing their hair? Would you kind of talk through each product as you're using it?
Always, for two reasons. If I'm not doing the shampoo, which at the moment I am, but if I'm not and an assistant's doing it, then it gives the assistant the opportunity to start understanding retail and understanding products, because then I can teach them something as they're growing. And talking to them about that and the benefits from that, like one of the things that we've always had as a brand is that our clean blonde damage rewind silver shampoo is always one of the strongest on the market in terms of the pigmentation. We've just launched a new version of this called Everyday Clean Blonde, and the benefit of that is that a lot of people who don't want ice white hair from a shampoo but want their tone to remove yellow and get a nice clean blonde, Everyday means you can use it every day and it gradually just improves. So what actually happens is we cover all bases. For someone who just wants to keep their highlights and their balayage nice and clean, there you go. We're going to make sure that you don't have any damage. We're going to boost the condition and it's going to look great. But if you might want to have like an icy white pop one day, use Clean Blonde or use Clean Blonde Damage Rewind, which is much more intense and is going to really erase all of that. So being able to have stuff like that allows us to talk to clients in a very different way, because I can now describe and explain products that are specifically suited to them. And the same thing is always talking about shampoo and conditioner dependent on specific needs that they might have. But also that I would say, you don't have to, but if this is what you want to do, then what I would do is blah, blah, blah. And the way that I always do that is, it was a thing that I learned early on called commentary hairdressing, in that I will have a normal conversation with my clients about, football or makeup or cars or, Ryan Gosling, pick whatever the subject is. And throughout that, I will intermittently stop at different points and say, I'm just using this on your hair because of this. I do that when I'm cutting hair. I'm just going to cut this layer in because it's going to fall like this and this is what's going to happen. And the benefit of that is that if they ever go somewhere else and they ask someone that question and the answer isn't the truth, that is showing that you were actually being honest to them. And from a relationship building and an understanding of their hair, I'm cutting someone's hair. They know their hair better than me, but I know hair better than them. So I'm trying to be able to decipher that code a little bit and give them the opportunity to have more insight into what goes into doing their hair and how they actually style it and why I use all these products. And the big bouncy curly blow dry is not just because I'm really good at blow dries. It's actually because I had a lot of support from blow dry aqua primer that I've cocktailed with expander foam, and then we've put in head shine that's going to give all the shine and boost at the end. Then I've got some aqua shine serum that I've put in through the mid lengths and ends, and all of a sudden I've used 4 styling products that all have a specific purpose and are all beneficial to the end result. But my odds of them buying at least one have just improved, and that one product could be blow dry aqua primer, which I would suggest for everyone. My other go-to product, salt spray. The reason for that is that I love it. I love it in men's hair and I love it in women's hair, because everyone wants some sort of beachy texture. Whether you're a guy or a girl, everyone wants to put their hands through it, or they want waves or curls or whatever it is they're trying to achieve. Even the sort of air dry trend that's came in now of everyone just letting it dry naturally, a product like salt spray is going to give you great results. It's a really easy product to use because you can spread it throughout your hair really evenly. You can really get to the point. And it's going to give you a great finish. I think salt spray is the easiest product in the world to sell to anyone, because everyone uses it. And even if you don't want the natural beachy air dry texture, you're going to get a product in there that's going to give you grip and hold and shape, that's going to allow you to be able to create whatever look you want. And I think that in itself is the easiest way to sell it.
Definitely. And do you have any other tips, Jonathan, in terms of closing the sale for anyone who maybe is okay about talking the products, but they're just not very good at kind of doing that final part of saying, right, so do you want these products then? Or, you know, do you leave the products on in front of them for the duration to sort of encourage them to kind of pick them up and look at them? Or is there anything specific that you do that seems to work quite well?
That's definitely something that I would do. I would always leave the products invisible that I use. I'd never take a product and put it back in a cupboard and use what was ever in my hand. The way that I always found it was the easiest way to do it was explaining it as you were using it. Talking about a product that you've not used, or this might be good for you, and they've got no way of seeing what it's going to do, is never going to work, because it just feels like you're selling it. But actually just discussing it in a natural, normal way and talking through products will naturally pique more interest. What I tend to find happens is I will always, in every service, I will have one product that I think is a must-have for them. So I will always build a recipe throughout the look, but I'll always have one product for sure that they have to leave with, because this is going to be a massive game changer for them. And that's not me just saying I'm going to force a product on someone, is that everyone has got one product that will genuinely make an unbelievable difference to your hair, regardless of who you are. You know, it could be as simple as, you know, serum, you know, and sealing the end. It's going to make a visual impact. So I will always focus on one product, like XXL hair thickener, salt spray, blow dry aqua primer. We've got a new innovation called Matte Head Moldable that sits in our Matte Head franchise that allows you to be able to rework your hair throughout the day. Especially important now, because with people going to be going into having longer hair for the summer, being able to change that look throughout the day is going to be really beneficial. So I will hone in on one product and I will say, you need this for this, 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 and this. And I'm not saying buy this now, buy this now, buy this now. But what I'm saying is watch what happens. And me being able to have confidence in the products, that I know and I understand them, that what I say is going to happen is going to happen. So for argument's sake, XXL hair thickener, I'll say, this is really clever because it's got polymers in it, like I explained before, and it's going to boost the density by 100%. Okay. And then I use it and they notice that the hair looks thicker. They notice that it looks fuller and they can feel the texture being thicker. You're not going to say, thank you for telling me about that. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go now. It's, oh my God, I need this. And that it's finding that balance of finding the recipe and the needs of your client and fulfilling them when it comes to products. And you don't have to sell it. It doesn't become about forcing things down people's throats, because, you know, you could pick any subject in the world, you could pick any type of product, any type of service, you know, if you can see the results and those results are going to physically benefit you as an individual, you will invest in that because you can see the results and it's something that you want. You know, if you are worried about your hair looking dry and damaged all the time, wishing you didn't have dry, damaged hair is not going to change that.
No.
You have things that are going to help that. And being in a position where you understand as a hairdresser the issues that clients might have, you know, you might have dry, damaged hair from overcoloring over the years. You understand it on a level playing field.
Personal level, yeah.
You know, there's no question. I know exactly what you're going through. It's impossible. Like, you don't know what you're going to do. You don't know how your hair's going to look. This is what I did. And as soon as you can explain, this is what I did, you're not selling anything anymore. You're giving a personal experience and the benefits of the routine that you chose. It's easy in that sense. I know it's difficult at times for people feeling a little bit conscious of coming across salesy, and it's never something that I would recommend. And I'd never say that that's something you should do. I think you should be conversational and consistent throughout the service. Don't just all of a sudden say buy, 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 buy. Explain it, why you're using it, why it's going to benefit them, what's going to happen. If they notice an instant impact and an instant result, I promise you that you'll be far more inclined to purchase that. And if you feel that you've said it at the start of the service and by the end of it, you've forgotten all about it and they've forgotten all about it, go with them to to reception and say, oh, did you want to try that product? You know, it's simple little things like that. The worst thing they can say is no. And ultimately, you know, what is the problem in that? Because you're not forcing sales on it. All you're doing is asking a question. Oh, the thickening product, did you want to try it? Oh, actually, yeah, I remember that. It looks great. It's amazing. I'll take some of that. It's little things like that which will encourage people to do it without you feeling like you are becoming a salesperson that your whole life revolves around retail, because it doesn't. You know, you're phenomenal and amazing at what you do because of color and the cutting and the blow drying and all of the other techniques and all of the other things that you've built up through the years. It is as simple as just talking to clients about the proper way to achieve the results that you can at home, which ultimately make you look better anyway, because if their hair looks amazing for the next 6 weeks, everyone's going to ask where they got their hair done, especially now, because everyone's looking for a big change and wants to become a whole new person out of this. So, you know, I think it's a great opportunity for clients to understand the benefits of proper retail and the benefits of a proper prescription from someone qualified in a position to do it. And I think that's where people may slip up at times, but can really get back on track. And I call it free money. You don't have to do any more free. You just talk during the time that you're talking and you benefit from it.
Well, that's great advice there, Jonathan. And for anyone who's tuning in that really wants to up their retail game, once salons do reopen, depending which part of the UK you're in, or even if you're in Wales and you know you've already gone back into the salon and want to increase those sales while you're kind of busy sorting out the hygiene and swiping the surfaces between clients, etc. What tips would you give for people right now that they could be implementing to make sure their retail game is up to speed?
I definitely think understand the products. When I started out, one of the things that I really focused on in the beginning was my most popular service, which at the time, like I explained in the beginning, was blow drying, was something that I was doing a lot. So I learned everything, but I spent my energy and my focus understanding every aspect of the things that really benefited that service, because then in that position, whatever hair type I had, whatever condition, whatever style, whatever look I was trying to create, I had the perfect go-to recipe for that, which just makes it second nature. You know, the big tip I have is, you know, understand the products, practice at home, you know, practice on friends, family, partner, kids, whatever you want to do, is make it second nature in conversation. Because one of the things that I often see people get caught up on is all of a sudden they start talking about products and they try and read the back of the bottle and the technical directions step by step and the ingredients in it and all of these sort of things. And you can get a little bit hesitant and struggle with what you're trying to deliver in terms of the message. Knowing that instinctively will give you far better results in just a conversational tone and including that in the service. So I definitely think find your key products and the elements that you really need to your best service, focus on that, and then analyze how that performs. See if you see a spike in retail, see if you see it's far easier to sell those, and then take that strategy and implement those things that you've done. Everyone's going to do it differently. So it's implementing those little elements into the next best service and the next best service. And eventually, very quickly, you'll have covered every base with every service and you'll have found a way to retail that. The one other tip I'll give, if you are a colorist and you're not the stylist, and you split that, and then sometimes I know colorists worry that they spend all this time talking and then the stylist goes in and closes it. Focus on the color benefit in products from the time that you've actually got longer in the chair with a stylist to talk about boosting condition. So just make sure that, you know, you are talking about the shampoos and the conditioners and the leave-in treatments and the things that are really going to make the biggest impact to the service that you deliver, and focus on that. You know, there's no point, you know, solely being colorist and sitting down talking, doing a set of highlights and trying to sell wax or hairspray. No stylist is going to go straight for. You know, it is things specific to that, and there are products that benefit that. You know, and you know, if you're trying to increase shine, things like head shine is our shine spray, which is a great finishing product. But it's great to really bring out the best in color and really highlight that. So it's having key products that you think are going to make your results look the best. That's what you will find easier to deliver and ultimately sell.
Brilliant. We've had a question. You mentioned the salt spray earlier and
Yeah.
how you're predicting it to be popular in the summer months. We've had a question saying if you tell a client you're going to use a salt spray on their hair and they may not typically like salt sprays, how much actual percentage of salt would you let them know that is in the spray, and what are the benefits of using it as opposed to something else?
I mean, everyone's going to be different. You'd have to specifically check what was in it. I mean, it's never going to be, you know, that it's 95% salt. The salt spray has a number of benefits, primarily because it helps with texture, and you know, a lot of them, we've got quite a marine rich formulation that really actually boosts the hair and the texture and the shape and the finish from a lot of those kind of sea elements. The easiest way I always find to talk about salt spray is that if you went swimming in the sea and you came out, and a lot of people go away on holiday and they've got curly hair and they go in the sea and they come out and their hair dries, they're like, oh my God, I love my hair, I love the way the curls have sit, I love this texture. It tends to become a lot more relatable to the client. For me, like I said, I mean, if your client's uncomfortable with it being salt, it's not going to be the thing that they are going to buy. However, I've always found that that was a really simple product to talk about. I find it particularly easy with men, because women tend to be a bit more acclimatized to understanding 2 or 3 products go into a big bouncy blow dry, whereas guys always think, oh, I've got gel or wax and that's my choice. Products that are for styling and boosting hold and shape and lift and all these things are just as important for men. You know, it's still the shape, it's still the way that you style it. Salt spray's always been my go-to for that, specifically with guys if they just want more texture, because you just spray it in and work it through, and you can blow dry it in and get great results, and they see the results immediately. Guys are really great for things like that because you can show them the difference it makes then and there, and they tend to be more loyal to the product and they tend to buy it easier. But yeah, definitely in terms of salt spray, I always say, you know, explain the benefits and focus more on salt spray of the results and the styles you're going to get. And then they can make up the decision. But the salt spray that you use, just check the contents of that before you talk technically about that side of things.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jonathan. We are coming towards the end, so just one more question before we wrap up. We've spoken a bit about the Fudge Professional care and styling range being more like skincare as opposed to makeup, and that's a real trend, isn't it? Kind of hair health and making sure you look after the hair. Would you say that that's an important tip for being successful at retailing, selling those extra additional benefits you're giving to the hair, not just the kind of the styling result?
Definitely. I think being able to have such a comprehensive range that a lot of it focuses on the condition and the benefits to the hair. You know, there's lots of additional products you can, like I mentioned, head shine, the shine spray, there's lots of, you know, the serum, there's lots of things that visually will create a difference, but fundamentally they're also serving a bigger purpose. You know, like the blow dry aqua primer with the hyaluronic acid. You know, that is a very skincare focused ingredient at the moment. It's a buzzword. It's what a lot of people are talking about. I think it's one of the first products that's ever used it in hair care. And the reason for that is that we can start to repair the hair shaft from inside and out. We've got a double-ended hyaluronic acid. So things like that not only make it a great feature in incorporating, you know, this is a bit more like skincare and we're going to help nourish and hydrate and condition your hair, but also that it is an actual benefit. We are doing something for your hair. And having those extra features and understanding those extra features makes it much easier to create specific packages for each client and make sure that you're ticking off issues that they've got. You know, consultation, if it is done right, will highlight all of the issues that clients will have with their hair. You know, they'll say, my hair feels really dry, it feels really damaged, it's this, it's thin, it's really flat, I don't have enough volume, blah, blah. They will always give you the answers that a lot of stylists think haircut first. How am I going to style this? How am I going to cut this to cover all these things off? But volume, product, condition, product, the ends, product, you know, all of these things are very easily remedied. and also combined with your haircut, it's going to give you better results, and they will see how well you have done tackling those issues. That actually it's very simple for them to replicate at home. It's very simple for you to earn more money. So being able to add in those additional features just makes it 10 times easier.
Brilliant. Oh, well, we're coming to an end now, Jonathan. So did you have any final comments that you wanted to add in? I know we've covered a lot of ground this morning, which has been absolutely fantastic.
We have indeed. No, honestly, thank you so much for having me. It's you know, products is something that I'm super passionate about, as I hope you've seen. And you know, it's just been a real honor to be able to talk to you and to talk to everyone, and hopefully that we're out of lockdown now and we're not coming back, and everyone's going to go back to the salon and earn loads of money and be really busy, and we'll have big parties in the summer, and yeah, we're going to start to get back to doing some exciting hair shows and being out and about a bit more. So I'm just very glad that I had the opportunity to come on today, and I hope if one person takes a little tip from here and goes back to the salon and boosts their revenue, then it's a good job well done from me, I think.
Oh, definitely. You've been fantastic, Jonathan. And if you're intrigued or excited or can't wait to get your hands on some of these products that Jonathan has got next to him at the moment and has been telling us about, please do go to uk.fudgeprofessional.com, which you'll find in the comments. Or I'm sure Jonathan wouldn't mind you reaching out to him on social media if you want to ask him any specific questions.
Yeah, social media, any specific questions about Fudge or anything like that, just drop me a message and I'll try and get back. Also, our website, Fudge Professional website, which you'd mentioned before, has got all the products on there. It's got all the things about the team, and they've got sort of like chat features and things like that. So any questions you might have specifically about the products, from an ingredient or technical perspective, shoot over there and have a look, and check it out. It's a very comprehensive range, like I've mentioned, and it's a great one to use. So have fun.
Definitely enjoy it. And yeah, just retail is a no-brainer, isn't it, Jonathan, for getting those extra pounds in when you're all swamped with back-to-back clients and all of the extra time required due to COVID. Absolutely. So thank you so much, Jonathan, for sharing your words of wisdom. And thank you to everyone for tuning in. And we look forward to seeing you all again very soon.
Amazing. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.